Hello and welcome back to Recovery Real Talk. My name is Angelica Matias Rodriguez, and I'm here with, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Sunshine Choate.
All right. You ready to get started?
Sure.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Tell me about yourself.
So I'm 41 now. I come from I come from a single mother household. My father left when I was very young. My mom worked extremely hard to provide for me and my three brothers. My mother is also a recovering addict. When I was about 8 years old, my mom got with my stepdad, who is an alcoholic as well. I don't know. I went through school. I did cheerleading. I had I thought was a promising future. You know, I was headed off to the Navy, was my original plan all throughout high school. I met with the recruiting officer. My senior year, I met who is now my husband, which totally turned all my plans around, how boys can do for girls sometimes. I had my first child at 18. I had my second child at 22 and my third child at 28. After my third child, I decided I wasn't happy and I didn't like the way my life was going. So my husband also ended up being an alcoholic and having his own little drug problem. When my daughter was about a year old, we decided that it just wasn't working. I wasn't going to do it no more. I was tired of being on the back burner to everything. And that's when we split. And when we split, it's when I hit my dark time. And that's when I got into drugs.
Okay. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in an itty-bitty little town called Portola in Plumas County up in the Sierra Nevada mountains. We had, maybe 1,300 people in the middle of the summer for occupancy. It was extremely small.
So just for context, I know Sunshine outside of this podcast. So when did you move to Humboldt?
I moved to Humboldt when I was 13 years old.
Oh, so you're a teenager.
Yeah, it was 3 months before my 13th birthday, actually. We moved to Humboldt County my 8th grade year. And yeah, my stepdad, I do call him my father. He's been with my mom since I was real little.
Yeah.
My dad started working at the local bar right down there, which just kind of...
In Willow Creek?
Yeah.
The rock kind of like... What is it, the rock slide
no,
or
actually,
something?
he worked at the Forks.
Oh, okay.
He never worked at the rock slide. He just likes to go sit and drink there.
Okay.
He doesn't work there.
I for sure thought it was that he worked at the rock slide.
No, he worked at the Forks.
Yeah, I've met good old Frank.
Who hasn't?
Yeah. So, was it difficult for you to adapt to living where you were before for so long and coming to Willow Creek, or was it about the same?
It was okay. So it was a total different world, to be honest with you. So I was living in Bandon, Oregon, which is up by Coos Bay, right off the ocean right there. And so it's going to sound funny, but my 8th grade year, okay, the girls there, the way we dressed was different, okay? So we wore the baggy pants and the button-up shirts, the 2 socks that come up to your fucking knees. You know what I mean? That type of shit. And then I come down here.
The higher the sock, the downer the food.
So then I come down here and, dude, these girls all got these tight-ass little pants on, these little shirts that are all
So the
low
style
cut.
was like different.
It was completely different. And the group of people were different, just different people.
Okay.
Just totally
Was that
different.
hard for you to adapt to?
A little bit. You gotta remember, when I was in Oregon, I was on the dance team, the cheerleading squad, all of that, and I left. Mom pulled me out in the middle of the school year. So I came down here, and it was too late for me to get back into anything I was in. So I didn't get onto the dance squad. I didn't get onto cheerleading. You know what I mean? I just kind of didn't do anything that last half of my 8th grade year, which it sucked.
Yeah, that does suck.
And I do truly think that if I was able to get into it, I might have gotten into a different group of friends. But you never know, in hindsight.
It's always the what ifs, you know, in life. They're like, what if I did this? What if I did that? It's like, it's not even like, it's fun to think about sometimes, but it's also just like where you look back and you think, what if to where it drives you crazy.
Right?
So the what ifs could be a blessing but a curse in a sense. So where did you go to high school?
So I went to high school out here in Arcata for a little bit. And then I couldn't maintain the grades because I was living in Willow Creek.
So where did you go to high school?
So I started off at Arcata High.
Okay.
But because I was an interdistrict transfer from Willow Creek, I had to maintain a certain grade point average.
Mhm.
And I was unable to do that because me and a couple of my girlfriends used to use our lunch money to buy alcohol after school. So we would catch a bus at 6 o'clock in the morning right down there in downtown Willow Creek, and we'd get out here about 7:15-ish. School didn't start until about 8:30. So we'd go up to the graveyard right there in Arcata and go get stoned and then head to school.
Small town shit.
Yeah. And then after school, you know, I want to say it was, God, it's been so many years now. Tuesday and Thursday were minimum days or something like that. 2 of the days out of the week were minimum days. And we got out at like 1 o'clock. But we couldn't catch that bus back out to Willow Creek until 5:30. So from 1 until 5:30, we had nothing to do. Well, we would go to that little bridge that's up there by HSU.
Yeah.
With all the paintings. And it was really easy to get people to go buy us alcohol.
Really?
And we would go get a nice little buzz before we would head home. And then, so I wasn't able to keep, short story is there, I was unable to keep the grade point average because I was busy drinking instead of doing
Partying,
homework.
right?
Like I
Okay.
should have, so they kicked me out. So then I went down to Hoopa High.
Okay.
And I was in Hoopa High for a little bit. And I didn't fit in very well at Hoopa High, let's just say. And okay. Trish Hodges beat the shit out of Crystal Doty on my lap on the bus.
Mhm.
And when Ella Dobrik, the principal, called us into the office and asked us about it, I flipped because she was trying to blame me for it. And I flipped out and I told her that she didn't know what the hell was going on. I threw my cheerleading uniform at her and I walked out. So I left school
Mhm.
and they expelled me from it. So then my only option was to go to Captain John Continuation School, which
Right.
is where I ended up graduating from.
Well, at least you graduated.
Yeah.
You know?
I graduated early, even though I was pregnant.
So you met Pat when you were a senior?
I met Pat. It was, so my junior, senior year got combined
Uh-huh.
because it was a continuation
Right.
school. So that's where I met my husband.
So how did that happen?
My girlfriend, Jamie
Mm.
Coleman, was going to Captain John at the time. Also, my buddy, we were getting drunk. She got kicked out of, normal high school too, and we had no choice. Well, that's where she ended up going. So I went down there. Mind you, she was my girlfriend at the time. So it was our thing. I was with her everywhere she went, and she
Right.
vice versa.
She was your best friend.
I guess you could say that, yeah. My first day, Pat was at the basketball court with his car and his boom boom stereo.
Oh, speakers.
Yeah, that boom boom stereo. And I hopped over the fence. And that's how I met Pat. And I didn't like him at first, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Why
he
not?
annoyed the fuck out of me at
You
first.
thought he was annoying?
Yeah, so annoying. But he grew on me, I guess, over time. Because here we are 20-something years later,
Yeah.
still married.
And
so.
then you said you had Lil Pat at 18?
I turned 19 right after Lil Pat was born. He was
Mhm.
born December 29th of 2003, and I turned 19 that following February.
And then you had Nick a few years later. Yeah. Okay. And then Marianne. Okay. So then
Many years later.
many years. So then where did you guys end up after high school and after you had a little Pat and
Well, we were living with his parents.
out in Willow Creek?
Started off in Hoopa,
Okay.
then ended up in Willow Creek. We helped them purchase the home that actually they live in right now,
Mm-hmm.
out there on Neighbors Lane.
Mm-hmm.
We helped purchase that house, and we lived with them up until, God, Nick was like 3 years old. We did periodically move out in that time, but not for too long at all.
Okay.
We always went back.
So you mentioned having 3 brothers, so you're the only girl.
I am. I'm the oldest.
What was that like? Because there's kind of a little bit of an age gap between you guys, right?
There's 8 years between me and the oldest of my 3 brothers.
Right.
And then my brothers are pretty bam, bam, bam after that.
Right, like back to back almost.
Yeah. It was fun, I guess you could say. So as an only child growing up, I wanted a sibling.
Right.
Like, I remember asking my mom for a sibling so many
Really?
times. And my mom tried. She did. So my mom is a cancer survivor
Yes, she
of
is.
ovarian cancer. So she, and breast cancer
Yeah,
now.
I was going to say that's when I met your mom, was when she was doing treatment for breast cancer
this last
like
couple years.
3 years ago.
But so back long ago, she had ovarian cancer. So my mom only has half of everything. Like, she was not supposed to have any more children after me. So she had a couple miscarriages. And every time mom would get pregnant, I would get all excited. Ooh, I made a brother or sister. And then shit would fall through. Well, so when she had my brother Richard, I was extremely happy. Like, extremely happy. I wanted a brother so bad.
Aww.
And as he got older, though, it sucked. I'm not going to lie, because I was like 9, 10 years old, wanting to hang out with my friends, and I got to take this 2-year-old with me, and oh my God. But it wasn't too bad. And then mom had Thomas, and Thomas is great. And then Matthew, and I remember after Matthew, I asked her, are you going to stop? Are you done?
Enough. This is enough.
Dude, this is good. I'm good. So.
You could have stopped after the first one.
Exactly. I agree. Not that I changed it for the
I
world.
know, yeah.
I love my brother.
You have a great family, so we're
Thomas
just playing.
is amazing and going through so much with his family.
Yeah, seriously, he's killing it. Him and Kay are both really great people. So you mentioned that you were living in Willow Creek with Pat's parents. Did you ever live on the coast of like Eureka, Arcata area?
So when I was pregnant with Nicholas, we moved out here. We lived actually up on Boone Street.
I feel like I've heard that.
Yeah, in
I
that
think you've
little
mentioned
fucking house, or that little room. Well, it felt like a room upstairs with Grandma. Grandma was living with us at the time. And yeah, we did for a little bit. And then Patrick started Le Cordon Bleu down in Sacramento. And we moved down to Sutter for a little bit so we could go to Le Cordon Bleu. And then we moved over to Tahoe for a bit.
Right, and he was working at the resort out there, right?
Yeah.
Running the restaurant?
Squaw Creek.
Yes.
Up in 6 Peaks.
And your brother was there with you guys too.
Yeah, we did bring him out for a little bit. I brought my brother periodically throughout the time. I have brought my brother in trying to... He's my baby brother, man.
Yeah,
I love my bubby.
Well, you do whatever,
trying to help my brother out.
Yeah, definitely. I get it.
My brother also had battles with his own addictions and his own problems that, I try to help him with. So,
yeah.
Everyone's got their demons.
Yeah, of course. Everybody has bad habits, whether they be whatever they are, I think everybody has bad habits in general.
Yeah, I still got bad habits.
I still have bad habits. So it's, part of life, I guess, building who you are as a person, instead of having it define you. Maybe you can like change it, that kind of stuff. So when you, so you always kind of ended up back in Humboldt, right? Like your home. Would you consider Humboldt your home, even though you didn't grow up the first 13 years of your life in Humboldt?
I would consider Humboldt my home.
No.
It's
I've always found my way back too, so it's okay. I always come back here.
My people are here.
Yeah,
everybody I love is here.
Yeah,
my grandma is here for crying out loud.
Yeah,
everybody I love is here. As much as I hate it here, I will probably always come back.
I remember complaining about Humboldt growing up, and then everybody that I graduated with, not necessarily everybody, but people that did leave always kind of ended up coming back. And I was just like, they always come back.
You do.
But I always came back. I mean, I lived in the Bay Area. I lived in Germany. I lived back in Oakland. And I always ended back here. This is my home. My friends and my family are here. Like, I love Humboldt. Now as an adult, I think as a teenager, it did. I don't know if you guys were doing like drinking. I remember, drinking in the woods when I was in high school and like, bonfires at the T. Like that was like the shit.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the thing to do, Like, there's going to be a bonfire at the T. Let's go. Or I'd go and, go to Sequoia Park, go drink with my friends or something, do bad stuff. But I definitely think that a lot of the things to do in Humboldt is like small town, typical like stuff. So I just always wondered if you thought Humboldt was your home.
It's home.
It's home.
I'll
That's
always
good.
come back here.
So when did your addiction start?
So, as I said earlier, it was Marianne was probably about a year and a half old,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally got a backbone, and I was done. As I explained a little bit, my husband had a really bad drug and alcohol problem. I didn't know of the drug problem at the time. At the time, I thought it was just an alcohol problem,
Right.
and it was. I mean, it was bad. It was to where walking around on eggshells all the time.
Right.
Never knew what was going to fucking happen, how he was going to react. You know, I couldn't have a good time or we'd go somewhere and he'd start drinking and then it was a fucking nightmare. And it was like that from the beginning of our relationship for the most part. And I don't know if I was naive, I just didn't care. I don't fucking know. But it was like that from the beginning. And it got to a point where I got tired. I got tired of being on the back burner. I got tired of not being able to enjoy myself. I got tired of always being scared, not knowing what the fuck was going to happen when he came home.
Like his reaction.
Yeah, was he going to be drunk? Was the kids going to say something that was going to piss him off? Was the fucking person driving down the road going to cut him off and now I get to deal with it when he gets home type situation? And I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't have my fair share to play in that because, as you know me, I got a temper and I got a bad temper.
Yeah, when you snap, you snap. That's it.
And so, I mean, like, there was some drag out fucking fights between the two of us.
Right.
And it was a mutual road. It really was. You know, I don't want anybody to think that it was a one-sided thing by any means. It wasn't. I fully antagonized it. I fully fucking, I did my part. I did. And I was tired of it. So I kicked him out and I made him leave. And I did it with the kids on my own for a little bit and I couldn't do it anymore. It got hard. It got really hard. I felt like I was in a spot that I didn't know what I was going to do. Patrick had come to the house. I was working at the Chevron. And on one of his drunken stoops, while my mom had the kids, he came to our house and he destroyed our fucking house. And I mean destroyed it to where I couldn't bring my kids home. Every window in that house was busted the fuck. He broke the toilet. The fucking toilet. He ripped the shower heads and every mirror, every light bulb was busted. He destroyed our fucking house because he was drunk. And he thought that I took our Thanksgiving turkey to his mom's house and put it on the porch. When come to find out, it was a live turkey that had come down from the hill and was on the porch. But exactly.
Yeah.
How the hell do you... yeah. So anyway, from there, it was... I got into a dark spot. I didn't know what I was going to do. Me and the kids went and stayed with my mom.
And where was that?
There in Willow Creek, in a 2-bedroom trailer. It was hard. It was really fucking hard. And I was working graveyard at the Chevron. And I had dabbled in cocaine periodically throughout high school. Off and on, at parties or whatever. Yeah. I had tried it. And I had a friend come in and she seen I was having, dude, it was hard to fucking stay up all night.
I've worked graveyard before when I worked at the pantry. And I only covered a few times. And it was hard.
Yeah, I was I found myself trying to stay awake but falling asleep at the tables right there. And anyway,
and did the Chevron have to stay open 24 hours? Because it's kind of like a trucker stop? Okay.
At that point, it did. I don't think it does anymore. I'm not 100. I haven't been in Willow Creek forever. So.
I don't know if it's 24 hours. It just hit me right now that it was probably 24 hours because it's a trucker stop on 290. It's the only stop on 299 until you get to I think there's a gas station kind of by I know there's a weird gas station.
That little
like,
thing
off
that
to the
like
left.
goes off. Yeah, but that's hardly ever open.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying
know?
is that's probably why it was 24 hours at that point, was because it's almost a trucker stop at that point.
Kind of, yeah, I guess, because it's on 299 on
Right.
my way out of town. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's 24 hours anymore, but it was at one point, and it was just, I was tired. And she came in, she's like, hey, I got something else to keep you up. And I was like, yeah, what you got? And she told me it was like cocaine, but better. And I was like, let's give it a shot.
You were like, well, I like doing cocaine.
Yeah, let's give it a try.
If this is like cocaine but better.
And
yeah.
Yeah. I did my first line right there. I don't want that out there and about, but yeah, I did my first line right there at work, and instantly got fucking high as a kite and was like, woo! And that was the beginning of my shit. From there, I did not want to come down.
So you did meth,
Yep.
correct? Okay.
I was a meth user. I am a meth addict.
I feel like a lot of people who, and it's not just, I think it's still happening, is that people often, I've had people that like to do cocaine tell me that they're scared to buy cocaine in Humboldt County because they're scared they're going to accidentally get meth.
These days.
Or even fentanyl, you know?
So I am grateful that I got out of the shit when I got out of the shit. I really am. And I wasn't on it for all that long. I was only on it for a couple years. I only did a couple years spat, and that was enough for me. But yeah, no, nowadays, like in the last year, dude, I wouldn't have even, no, I don't trust any of that shit. I wouldn't trust any of it with the way it's going around anymore.
Yeah, I feel the same, where people have, like I said that they're scared that they're accidentally going to get meth, or
They
even now fentanyl, because, and I feel I am totally like, get fentanyl test strips to like people that like to do cocaine. I'm like, you should get them just to be safe, because you never know.
Yeah, it's in the bathroom.
Yeah, when I lived in Oakland, I used to go to this brewery down the street from the property that I worked at, and it was called the Temescal Brewery, right on Temescal. And they, in the bathroom, had harm reduction. They had fentanyl test strips, and they had pregnancy tests. I think they were dollar store ones, but I mean, you never know. And they had tampons, and harm reduction isn't just for drugs. It's contraceptive. It's like condoms, birth control, tampons, all that stuff, lube even. Yes, it is clean needles, but I feel like when people hear the word harm reduction, they immediately are like, oh, it's for people that are on drugs. It's like, no, it's actually not for people that are on drugs. It could be Advil. It could be like when you see a harm reduction vending machine, there's Advil, there's gum, there's toothpaste, all sorts of things in that vending machine that I've seen. I've only seen a few, if I'm being completely honest.
Never seen one.
Really?
Never.
I saw one when I lived in Alameda County, and they wanted to bring one to the property I worked at, but I didn't. I was still new to my position, and I didn't like conflict. I was and I've always been like that I've been like that for a long time. Not so much anymore. I definitely have grown a backbone, but at that point in life, I did not have that backbone. And I was like, I just want to make everybody happy. I'm a people pleaser. We don't need it. No, it's fine.
Right?
But now I look back and I'm like, dang, it's not all bad, you know? And I feel like it just has, as soon as people just hear that word, it's an uproar. So
now imagine if they came up with another name for it.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably fly a lot better.
Something else. So when did you realize you were hooked? Was it when you did that first line, or was it later on where you were like, were you ever like reliant on it?
I relied on that pipe every morning. I will honestly say that for the first 2 months, I felt like I had a control over it, and that I was in control. And
did you feel that way, and other people would try and tell you weren't in control, or did you actually have a handle on it?
Nobody said anything to me.
Did anybody notice?
I don't know. I don't know if they didn't notice and they just didn't fucking say anything, or if they noticed. You know what I mean? I don't know. They kept their mouth shut.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna ask questions if they ain't saying nothing, you know? I don't want them to think I am. So if they aren't saying it, then obviously they're not thinking it, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I was thought about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought I had control for the first couple months. I did. And then about month 3.5, 4, I found myself, I woke up one morning and I had no drugs to get high that morning. And like, I couldn't fucking function. My body hurts so bad.
So were you having like withdrawal symptoms?
Yeah, well, now that I'm clean and I've gone through the withdrawal symptoms, yeah, that's what it was. I didn't know what it was at the time.
You just thought you were sick?
Yeah, I thought I wasn't feeling good. It was just a fucked up day. I got the flu.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I got those drugs, I felt better.
Okay.
And, that happened probably about 3 or 4 times before I was like, oh, fuck.
So I don't know a whole lot about meth withdrawal. I know like bits and pieces, just like the aches and the pains and the feeling sick. I know when people withdraw from alcohol, it can be very dangerous. If they're severe alcoholics, they can have seizures and it could be deadly. Could that be a possibility with meth as well?
I don't see why it couldn't be. I did not have seizures. No. So what ended up happening for me was I had gotten high as a kite and I was up for fucking 2 weeks. And
straight?
Yeah. God, she used to happen all the time. And I get to a bed and like just lay down and be out for fucking who knows how long. Seriously, I'd hit that bed and lay down and be out within minutes. Well, I had been up for 2.5 weeks and I ended up crashing out. Went over to my dealer's house and I crashed out on this bed. And when I woke up, I want to say I was asleep for about a day and a half.
Oh, wow.
I'm not 100 exactly how long I had been asleep. But when I woke up, I looked around and in the bed next to me, fully clothed, okay? I just want to put that out there. Fully clothed was some dude I didn't know.
Uh-huh.
Who was like conked out. Over in the corner over here was a bitch with a needle in her fucking arm. Nodded out. I had somebody over here fucking snorting a line. Dude over here was loading a bowl. And you could hear, I don't even know what the hell was going on in the bathroom. But you could hear noises coming from there. And I remember sitting there and looking around and being like, what the fuck? Oh my God, Sunshine, what the fuck are you doing? And that was the last day that I honestly talked to anybody that I used to use drugs with. I have not even, and I know it's different for everybody. Some people can still communicate with those people. They can still see those people and it's great. I see those people and I walk the other way.
So
I
would
don't
you
even
say
communicate with them anymore.
Waking up was your turning point?
Waking up was my turning point.
So in between when you were in active addiction, did you ever have a job? Were you homeless?
Oh, yeah. That's how how I did my drugs. Angelo's Pizza, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I worked at Angelo's.
My dad used to take me to lunch there when I was in high school for like my birthday and stuff. I wonder if I ever saw you.
I also did the pantry. I worked at the pantry.
I knew that, but I didn't. When I got high, I actually think I replaced you.
You probably did.
I was 18 at the time. I had been working at McDonald's throughout high school and I wanted something new. And I actually know the owners of the pantry. I went to school with their kids, with one of them at least. And I remember when I started, he told me he had just lost a waitress that that he'd hire me. And I was like, okay, I've never done it before, but sure. I mean, I can write down pancakes. So I'll figure it out. And something that's like an ongoing joke that he still teases me about is that one time I was so sick of making those damn milkshakes. I hated making those milkshakes because we only had 2 of the mixers that actually worked. And so one time I put the milkshake machine was broken. And people came in asking for milkshakes, and I was just like, "Not today, Satan!" And I was like, "Nope, oh, it's broken." So
That's one of your big sellers.
I pulled a McDonald's. Oh, the ice cream machine's broken. I was like, "No, the milkshake machine, it's broken. I can't make a milkshake." Well, I forgot to take it down when the graveyard girl came in. She goes, "Oh, is the milkshake machine broken?" I was like, yeah, I don't think it was plugged in or something. And she checked. She goes, "Oh, it's plugged in." And I was like, well, it wasn't working earlier. I stuck with it. I was like, nope, I'm taking this to the grave. Well, then, obviously it wasn't broken, and we put 2 and 2 together, and he was like, don't ever do that again. And I was like,
Well, yeah,
Okay.
that's your big money maker.
I know. I was just like, I hated that damn milkshake machine, dude.
I used to put
The
the milkshake
mixer.
cups up in there, and if I didn't pay close enough attention,
They'd
they'd
fly
fall
off.
right off.
It would fly off and it'd go. Yeah, one time I
Everywhere.
exploded a McFlurry when I worked on. I did that twice, but the spoon, I stuck the spoon way too deep into the cup and it made a hole in the cup and it was McFlurry everywhere. Oh, and there were investors there or something that day. So this McFlurry is just exploding everywhere. My boss is staring at me and I'm like trying to figure out what's going on with this milkshake machine. I'm like 16. I'm like, what the hell? And I managed to flip it off and I like flip the switch off and I like awkwardly looked over and he's trying not to laugh because he knows me. And I was just sitting there and I was like, I'm going to take my 10. So that's how, and then they mentioned Sunshine. And I kept thinking, oh, her name was Sunshine. I had never met anybody, heard anybody named Sunshine. And then when I met you and you mentioned it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the Sunshine that worked at the pantry. So I kind of knew
It's
that
a small world.
I know, right? I could have met you way back when.
You never know.
So were you in active addiction at that point when you were
I
in the
was,
pantry?
yes.
Okay. And did you just like, you were like, fuck this, quit?
No. Actually, I'm not. I'm not quite sure how that job. Yeah, I'm not even quite sure how that job ended. I really am not 100 on that. It just.
I didn't really hear much about you. I just mentioned that
um,
the person I replaced was named Sunshine or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that I remember not coming in for like a week,
Oh, okay.
but I don't recall if that was the exact. They didn't really give me a reason though. When I got
Yeah.
let go, there wasn't really an exact reason. You know what I mean? They weren't like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're getting high on the clock" or anything like
Yeah,
that.
they just were like, we don't
There
need
was
you.
no exact reason, but I remember I didn't come in for about a week. But I didn't have drugs. I was tired. My body hurt. I couldn't move.
So where were you? I don't remember if you said this a little bit ago. Were you homeless in that time or were you
I
living
was.
somewhere?
I was homeless off and on by choice,
Okay.
which is weird, right?
Yeah.
Really weird.
Well, actually, it's not that
so-
weird. A lot of people are working with the population I work with. I actually see that.
Well, I was. So it's weird because I wanted to experience the homeless thing. I had a few friends that were living in the tents down by the bay.
Like
And,
by
like,
Devil's Playground?
No.
Well, what used to be Devil's
No,
Playground?
Devil's never. I never fucking set foot into Devil. I was scared Devil's Playground.
I think I went there for the first time when I was like 12.
I ain't never set foot in there. No. So like you got the pantry, and
Yeah.
you know that road that goes down.
Yeah, by the Renner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
way down there.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. I don't know if there still is.
I don't know.
But there was a lot that the homeless used to be able to go put their tents up in at nighttime.
Like an encampment, pretty much.
Kinda, yeah,
Like
and
a,
then
a set place. I've seen that in different counties and stuff where they'll put, okay, you guys can be homeless, but you can stay here in this area.
Until certain times.
Yes.
So like at 5 o'clock in the morning, the cops would come down, bang on the tents and wake everybody up and make you move. So you had to pack your shit up and remove it from that area. But you could go back there at like 6 or something at night.
Was there a curfew, like a cutoff time?
No. There was never a cutoff time that you couldn't come. You know what I mean?
There was a cutoff time to leave.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had some friends, users that were living in that situation. And so I chose to go down there and stay with them. I stayed down there for 2.5 weeks. And I experienced that. I got to see what that was like, which I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything that I went through. Anything that I've gone through, my drug use, none of it. I wouldn't change any of it to save my life. It's made me who I am today. And I'm very proud of who I am today. And, that comes with my demons and that comes with my problems that I had. But I've overcome them and I use them to help me move forward every day and to try to help other people. Because I see those people that I stayed with down there now. And I serve those people Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner come Christmas time for the last 3 years. And that's a good feeling to know that I'm doing that. And I used to be in that position right there. So I did it by choice so that I could know what it was like. And I stayed on a lot of couches. a lot of different beds,
Yeah.
cars. But the only time I ever spent on the streets, like living on the street, sleeping in a tent, was by my choice because I wanted to experience it and know what it was like. And I made that choice while I was high as a kite. Sober, I probably would not make that choice. No.
So when you got clean, was that something you did on your own? Did you do a program? What was your experience?
I did it on my own.
Okay.
I never went into a rehab. I did it on my own with my dog. My dog, Leo, was a big support for me. Like when I was coming down and sleeping for days on end, that dog was right there by my side.
Where'd you get the dog?
I got Cleo when she was a puppy from the Ray's food plate. Well, it was Bob's shopping center at the time down there in Willow Creek.
Okay, before it was Ray's.
Yeah, before it was Ray's. I went down there to go get dinner one night and they were giving out puppies. And I was like, oh my God, I want one.
Yeah, I know how you are with your dogs.
She was so cute. She had black eyeliner and lipstick, black lipstick. She was beautiful. And I called my husband, asked him if I could bring her home. He's like, I don't fucking care. Do what you want. And so I brought her home.
Oh, so you had her before okay, so you took her with you.
No, she stayed with Pat.
So how did you get her from Pat?
Because after I got clean, so I woke up that morning and I decided this isn't what I want anymore. So, and at that point, I called my mom and I told my mom I was ready because throughout the couple years, my mom pulled me off the streets. My brother would come fucking literally drag me out by my hair out of
Which
fucking
one?
Thomas. Tweaker pads. And Richard kind of wrote me off. And I understand why he did because we were so close and it was really hard for him to see me go down that road.
Yeah.
But Thomas was there the whole time. And so was Matthew, dragged me out by my fucking hair, yelling at me, screaming at me, making me come home and sober up for a couple days. And then I would get loose and run away again. And then my brothers would be out searching for me. It was horrible. I can laugh about it now. But dude, the shit I put my brothers through.
I know I remember, I don't remember, someone told me that your mom would like drag you out of
She used to, yeah.
Yeah,
they
look
all did.
for you and be like, Sunshine, you need to get your shit together.
She used to come down to the homeless encampments and fucking scream and yell. And like,
Did you ever hide?
Fuck yeah, I did.
From Kara?
I didn't want that bitch dragging me out. I was just getting high. She was fucking up my routine, man. Yeah, I hid from her. But when I decided was what I wanted, I called my mom. And then at that point, my mom called my brother Thomas, and Thomas came and picked me up, and I went home to Thomas's house. And
was he living in?
He was living here in Eureka.
In Eureka at the time,
over by Wingco, over in that area. And I moved in with Thomas, and I started getting clean. I was clean for about 2 months, and mind you, Pat had the kids at that point because I just couldn't do it no more, and Pat was staying with his parents with our kids. And shit went, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but shit hit the fan. And, he knew I was in the process of getting clean. And he called me and told me that he would like to try to get our family back together. So then Pat and the kids moved out to my brother Thomas's house, and we started from there.
So I know that in the process of getting clean, people make amends. Would you say that was something that you did when you got clean? Did you make amends? Did you reach out to anybody or?
So my story of being clean is so much different than everybody else's. It really is.
And this is your story.
I didn't do the treatment. I made amends with who I felt like I hurt.
Okay.
And I only felt as though, and I still, to this day, only feel as though I hurt my family.
Okay.
I hurt my children more than anything because I gave up and I ran away and I left them. And the whole 2 years I was gone, I did not contact my children. Like, I didn't. Because I didn't want them to see me like that. I didn't want them to know that about me. They weren't involved. They didn't know. I mean, they knew. You know what I mean? I'm sure they knew. And talking to them now, yeah, they knew Mom was not in a good spot. But they didn't know the extent of it. And that was because I didn't want them to.
Right.
I didn't want them to experience that. I didn't want them to ever, you know what I mean? And I couldn't, in the end, it didn't stop them feeling like I left them and abandoned them. But that's, when I did it, I felt like they wouldn't feel that way if I just up and left and didn't drag them through the shit. And it just, yeah, so I have made amends, like, with certain people, not with everybody. No,
Right.
I have not gone back to pantry and been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was using
I'm sorry to
drugs
show
while
up
I
for a
was
week."
employed by you." No, I haven't made amends with everybody, and
Well, no, that's
I
not
don't
really
think
what
I
I
will
meant.
do shit like that, but
Right.
those who matter. I mean, right down to Shannon, okay? That was my brother's girlfriend at the time. I
Yeah.
hate that bitch with a passion now. I hate her. We do not get along at all. But she was with my brother Thomas at the time when I was going through all my shit, and I did her wrong. Like, I fucking yelled at her, I cussed at her, I mistreated her her house. She opened up her home to me, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I apologized to her for everything that I did. She didn't deserve that. She did nothing but try to help me. And so I've made amends with some people that, like I said, anybody I feel as though they deserved an amends, that I feel like I fucked up or I hurt, which is my family.
So would you say your family was like your support system in the process of getting clean then?
My
They were
kids
your
and my husband. I didn't go to rehab.
Right.
I was working, so I was working at the Rockside, and Pat and I weren't quite back together yet. I was still living up at Frank's house, and Pat had the apartment there in Willow Creek with the kids.
Mhm.
And I was still dabbling off and on periodically. And I remember one day, Pat was wanting me to come down all the time to come. He wanted our fucking family back together. He did.
Mhm.
And so I went down a couple times, and after work, mind you, working graveyard at the pantry, or not the pantry, sorry, at the Rockside, I was working in the kitchen, and it's a bar, so I wouldn't get off until like 2:30 in the morning. And I went down there, and yes, that night I happened to be high.
Mhm.
Not like, woohoo, and be up forever, but I was a little high. I had
Okay.
done some dope earlier that day to help me get through the day, and he asked me if I was high, and I tried to lie to him at first and tell him no. And he looked at me and said, "You're lying to me." And I looked at him and I said, "You know what? You're right. I am high. I have a motherfucking addiction problem. I am addicted to meth." I was like, "What are you going to do about it?" And he broke down and he gave me a big old hug. And he told me that he was there for me and that we were going to get through it together and that he wasn't going to leave me.
I've never heard this story. You're gonna
And
make me cry.
that it was going to be okay. And then we were going to do it together. Which probably is why it hurts so bad now. But we were going to do it together. And that no matter what, it was going to be okay. And that no matter what the process took and no matter how long it took, it was going to be okay. And there were some really fucking hard days. Some really hard days. There were days I woke up and I didn't think I was going to make it. And like, there were days I told Pat that I break down crying and tell him, "I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I feel like I'm going to die. I can't get up. I can't do this without my drugs." And eventually, it's just like little by little went away. Because now I wake up every morning and I can't live without my coffee. That's my drug now of choice is my coffee. I can't live without my coffee in the morning. And I don't look back. I don't. Like, I got offered meth 2.5 weeks ago and I laughed at him and I walked the fuck away because I don't want that shit in my life. I don't want it around. I work extremely hard keeping this shit off the property that I manage and with my job, and I don't want it around. And I said, I don't talk to those people anymore. I don't communicate with those people. Not saying that I'm rude to them. I've seen a couple of them in the grocery store. Everybody's a good person. They really are. Just because you use drugs doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't. And, just because I choose to not talk to you because you use drugs doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means
It's a boundary.
I can't do that. I can't have you in my life if you're going to be on drugs.
It's almost like loving somebody from a distance. And I've actually seen a podcast that said, one of the ways that people deal with a partner with addiction or a family member with addiction is you detach with love. And that means pretty much, I'm not going to have you in my life anymore because I don't want that in my life, but I'm rooting for you, I'm cheering for you, and I hope you get better, and I'm detaching from you essentially, is what I've seen. Because you can't make somebody get clean. It's
No.
something that they have to want to do on their own. They can't get clean for their kid. They can't get clean for their partner. They can't get clean for whoever it may be. Is they have to want it for themselves. And if they don't want it for themselves, then they're not ready.
Yep.
So in what ways would you say that you've grown as an individual in your recovery since you began recovery?
Oh my gosh, where do we begin? Where do we begin? So I have a new outlook on life. I do.
Okay.
It's not about surviving anymore. It's about being happy and doing what's going to make me happy. And being drug-free makes me happy. Being able to watch my kids grow makes me happy. My kids being proud of me makes me happy. It's just, I don't know. I have a completely different outlook. Life is all about what you make of it. It's not, you might get dealt a bad hand, but that's not your life. Doesn't mean you got to live that. Just because your life is in a fucked up spot or you're in a bad mind frame, it's a mindset. You need to get your ass up out of it. And in the end, all it is you. You're in your own head. You're doubting yourself. You're telling yourself all this negative shit. You're the one that's making yourself get to that point. You are the only one that can pull yourself out of it as well. Nobody will make you happy but you. You're the only one in charge of that. And so if you want to be clean and you want to be sober, you want to have a good, healthy life, anything is possible. You can do it. But you have to want to do it. Like you said, ain't nobody going to make you do it. I didn't get clean for my kids. I didn't get clean for my dog. I didn't get clean for my husband. I got clean because I wanted to be clean. I wanted my life back. I wanted my kids. I wanted my family. I wanted a fucking future.
What do you wish more people understood about the process of recovery?
That it's hard, but it's possible. It is. Because there were many times I didn't think I could do it. Like I said, I woke up fucking feeling like I was dying, literally. And no matter how hard, it's worth it. I know that it's hard, and I know that you have those days and you have those thoughts and you have those times. Hell, dude, I've been clean almost 9 years now. And there's still thoughts that come through my head that I'm like, oh, fuck, if I was high, this would be so much easier. But it's that self-will, it's that self-power to not go that route.
And what do you do? What do you tell yourself when you do start to have those feelings of, dang, like, if I was high, this would be easier?
Last week, dude, I'm sitting there cleaning the garbage area with knee-high, waist-high fucking garbage in my dumpster area. 3 of them, by the way, you guys. I got 3 of them bitches to clean every week. I'm cleaning it, and I'm like, fuck, dude, if I was high, I could get this shit done quick. Like, I used to get this shit done lickety-split. But you have to remind yourself what comes with that.
Right.
So, I remember if I got high, I wouldn't have the job I love. And I love my fucking job. I bitch and I moan about it. Don't get me wrong. It comes with its downs, but I love my job. There's nothing more fulfilling and grateful in the world than giving that family a home, or that baby who's never had a bedroom before, a bedroom for the first time. Oh my God, that feeling is just like, better than any high you'll ever have. Ever. And that's what keeps me going. There's better highs out there. And it's all about a high. As a meth addict, I'm always looking for my next high. I am. Don't get me wrong. That next thing that's going to make me feel that makes me feel excited, that gives me that high that I'm looking for. Because I'm an upper. I ain't a downer. I don't need no downers. I want to feel up and I want to feel good about myself. And that's what I'm always searching for. So I would suggest finding something that gives you that high, that gives you that same exact satisfaction feeling that, oh, this is great. That adrenaline rush, I guess you would call it, but that doesn't involve the drugs. And it's out there. You can. There are people who are willing to give you that shot if you're willing to fucking be clean and do it. I mean, look at me. Look at who gave me my shot. And I love the fucking company I work for. I've been with them for 5 years. I will die, Danco. They're amazing.
So was life after when you were fully recovered, was that the first job you had?
Fully recovered. Yes, actually, fully straight, fucking clean, not a damn drug in my body. Yeah.
How long did it take you to be fully recovered?
I still don't feel like I'm fully recovered. I don't feel like I will ever be fully recovered because I will always be an addict. I will always be an addict and I will always have that demon in that fight. I will always be in recovery. Every single day of my life, I have to fight and remind myself and choose to not do drugs. Recovery isn't just something that you decide that you're going to get clean and then one day you don't have to try anymore. It just doesn't happen. It's not like that.
So it's an ongoing battle.
It is an ongoing battle because every single day something is going to happen. Someone's going to say something that's going to piss you off. Incident's going to happen. People are going to leave trash on the ground. A little kid's going to run in front of your car. Dipshit's going to cut you off. And it's going to piss you off and it's going to make you want to go right back to it. But it's all about you. You don't want to be that way. You want this. This is the lifestyle you want. And it really is all in... It's all in your fucking head. It really is. If you can get yourself to that point to where you want this is what you want, nothing will sidetrack you. Because like I said, I got those days. Don't get me wrong, dude. I got 3 fucking kids, a husband, 3 dogs. I managed almost 200 fucking units. I got those days. Don't get me wrong. I do. But it doesn't stop me. It doesn't make me go back because I don't want to be there. Because I know in my heart to hearts and in my head what I want and how to succeed and how to get that. It is a self-power mind frame. It really is. Anybody can fucking get clean. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But they have to want it. And like you said also, you can't make somebody do it. You can try to help them all you want. My mom tried to help me. My brothers tried to help me. Everyone tried to help me. Ain't nothing fucking working until I decided that day when I woke up and saw what I saw and was like, what the fuck?
Right. Did you ever try NA or support groups or anything like that?
Nope. So I have support. I did not go to a support group. I did not go to NA. I did not feel like I needed to go sit around a bunch of people and hear their stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, I'm not that type of person. I don't want to hear that. I don't need to hear it. I need somebody to listen to me every now and then when I'm having me a bad day. And like a therapist, just listen. Just listen to what I have to say. And then I feel better. That's all you need most of the time is you just need to vent. You need somebody to listen to you. And that's all AA is. That's all NA is.
Yeah, I have a friend that goes to AA, and he told me that when he goes up to the front and says, "Hi, my name is, and I'm an alcoholic," that he feels seen and he feels heard. So I feel like he wants to be seen and heard with maybe his journey is probably different and his thought process is probably different. You're completely different people. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different journey. But I know that for that individual that they go to AA because they feel seen and they feel heard. So it's
And seeing in my case,
it might work for them. It
I
might
got
not
that
work for
same
you.
feeling from a group of friends.
Right.
A group of friends who I had known for so long that knew the struggle I was going through. And that's the problem is you have to be willing to open up. You do. You're not going to be able to get that support from somebody if you're not fully honest and candid with them. If you're not honest and you don't let them know, hey, this is how I feel. This is what I'm going through. This is what's going through my head. This is the direction I'm looking at. And I feel AA, NA, you get that ability right
Mhm.
there and they listen to you. And so that's why you feel seen. That's why you feel heard. That's why you feel like that's your good support group. But you can get that support group from the right people. It doesn't have to be an NA class. It doesn't have to be an AA class. I didn't get it with an AA class. I got it sitting in the living room of my girlfriend's house, bullshitting with her on a bad day. Because I had a day that I thought was just fucked and I was only clean for 3 weeks and I wanted to go get high and all I knew is I just needed to text this person right here and my drugs will be here within 10 minutes and I can go get high. Well, instead of texting that person, I went and I talked to Mary Beth. And I sat in my girlfriend Mary Beth's house and we sat and we fucking talked for hours. And she just listened. That's all she did. I've also started up therapy. Therapy is a great thing.
I love
Dude,
therapy.
They get paid just to listen to you. They don't judge you.
I think everybody should go to therapy. I think therapy is awesome. I go to therapy. I love it.
Yeah, I once a week on the phone.
Yeah,
I have an
me too.
hour-long
Well,
session.
I don't go once a week. I go once every 2 weeks, but I love it.
I go once a week on the phone. I have an hour-long session, and if I have a bad day, I'll let them know. The other thing I do is I journal every night.
Oh, I love to journal.
I journal about my day, and I found that helps me as well. So if I had a hard day, this didn't piss me off, whatever it may be, I write that down, and then I release it, and I feel better. And it's gone, and it's out of my head, and it's not something that I'm thinking about anymore. It's not weighing on me. And when you let things weigh on you when you're an addict, and you let things weigh on you and you don't deal with those situations, they compile and they compile and they compile and they compile. And then eventually the only way you can figure out to make them go away or to make it feel better is to get high. So if you handle these issues and these situations as they occur and as they come to you, you confront the person, you talk with the person, you confront the situation, or even write it down in a fucking booklet that ain't nobody else gonna read about, then you're able to release it. You're able to get it off your chest, and then it doesn't compile on you. And you have a little bit better of a chance.
Yeah, I told my cousin if I ever died that she had to find my journals and burn them and dispose of them. However,
well, yeah, that's got some personal shit in them,
well,
dude.
it's not only that, but like I write like what I'm thinking. I'll be like, oh my God, this person pissed me off today. And I'll say like the craziest thing, like, oh my God, I want to stab needles through my eyes and do this because they were just making me so mad. And like I write what I'm thinking, so it's like unhinged, you know?
But you feel better after, don't you?
Oh yeah, I feel 100 times better.
It.
I'll be listening to like something super calm, and I'll be like, oh God, I chose violence today. Like, something. I ruined my own day. Like no one's gonna ruin my day. I'm gonna ruin it. It's my day.
Well, you're in charge of your life.
Exactly.
You're in charge of your mood. You hold the pen to your story. You don't let nobody else write your story. That's your story. And you hold that pen.
Just for context, Sunshine's like one of my best friends. I met Sunshine at work, and we've been besties since. We turned into kleptos when we're out drinking together, but that's besides the point.
It's just a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. We're fun, I swear. But do you have what advice could you give to anybody going through recovery or maybe battling, trying to get clean? And
don't give up. Don't give up. I know it's scary. I know it's hard. And it's really, really fucking hard to admit that you need help. Like, way hard. It's probably one of the scariest things you're ever going to have to do. But if you can do that, if you can admit that you need help and you accept the help, dude, the life that you have ahead of you is fucking amazing. It really is. I wake up grateful every fucking morning. I've got a beautiful place I live. I have a great job. I wouldn't have any of it if I was still on drugs. I see, oh my gosh, so many people that I was using with are dead now. Like
really?
Dead. From overdose or fucking who knows what. They're just dead.
There are so many accidental overdoses that happen too. And I feel like people just automatically assume that just because they were doing drugs that they're quote unquote killing themselves. Yes, people are doing drugs with that possibility, but there's people I don't think are thinking like bad batches or having it something like fentanyl.
And, you don't.
And I feel like there are a lot of accidental overdoses that happen, and that's
you honestly you think it's not going to happen to you. Like so when I was using drugs when I first started, I had beautiful teeth. Not quite as pretty as what I got now, but I had pretty decent teeth, pretty teeth. And they, like, several of the people I used to do drugs with would be like, Sunshine, you're going to lose your teeth, you're a very attractive woman and you're going to, nah, not me, never, not me, not happening to me. And then sure enough, don't you know, I fucking lost almost every goddamn tooth in my mouth to where oh my God, it was horrible. It hurts so bad. And then, the torture of getting them all ripped out and doing what I needed to do to get where I am today. But you don't think about that type shit. You don't. You don't think about any of that. You're just getting high and looking for your next high. And it's a good time. You don't start thinking about that shit or feeling the pain until you're coming down. And as long as you can keep having drugs come to you, you ain't going to come down. And then you're not going to think about that. So you don't think about things like that. You're not thinking about who you're hurting or what you're doing. You're just thinking about, ooh, and what you can do while you're high.
So, hearing this part of the story, when you did start to lose your teeth, what were you feeling in those moments? Nothing.
I just did more drugs.
Like you numbed the pain.
Yeah, I just did more drugs. Well, because they hurt. So it was crazy. Like there would be, dude, I thought it was shit off of a movie until it fucking happened to me. I'm serious.
Like you just like a
sitting
formality.
there and you bite down on something easy, like a piece of bread, and your tooth fall off.
Oh wow!
Like literally, I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And it started with the back ones.
Pieces, or were they full teeth?
Some pieces, some teeth, some full teeth. Like these eye teeth. They came out full.
I think they're called incisors?
Or whatever the fuck they are. I call them your vampire teeth. They're all sharp and shit, make you look like a vampire. These teeth right here, they fell out whole.
Wait, no, I think inside. And the point, sorry.
Anyway, who cares what they're called?
I know.
They're these ones. I went to go bite a bag of chips like this, and like this, and it like ripped my tooth right out. And my tooth just like fell. I hit the ground. I was like, what the fuck? They would just fall out.
And it was just, like, were you ever in denial?
About what? About losing my teeth?
Yeah, because you said that was something that you thought you just wasn't
Yeah,
gonna
I never thought it would happen. It started happening. I was like, oh, fuck. But I was so high, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Everybody had no teeth. Wasn't matter.
Do you have any more inspiring words that you want to share, or any stories that may help others want to reach that point of recovery or anything like that?
Just, you can do it. Anybody can do it. You can. Absolutely anybody can. I can. You can. Anybody can. And just don't give up. Never give up. Even on your darkest days when you think that you can't do it anymore and that like there is no fucking further down, that you've hit rock bottom. Guess what? You have hit rock bottom. There is no more down. All you can go is up. So remember that you can do it. It's hard, and just ask for help. Bite your tongue, swallow your pride, and ask for help. Everybody needs help at some point for something, and it's okay to say that you need help. Because once you do, life is great. It really is. It's amazing. I love my sober life, to be honest with you. It's great. I wake up happy every day.
Heck yeah.
Look at me.
Brand new.
Yeah. Well, so after getting clean, I didn't have my teeth for a while. Like,
no, I know.
I only had, fucking look like a rabbit. I only had a couple teeth. And so I gotta say, yeah, you're gonna get clean and you're gonna still have your issues, your appearances that you had prior, but you can fix that. Those are just appearances. And yes, with time and dedication, you can fix that. So if you're too skinny, you can gain weight back. If you ain't got fucking teeth, you can buy teeth. You can gain back your confidence. And once you start getting back your confidence and feeling good about yourself, there's no fucking stopping you. There's not. You have to feel good about yourself. And you're unstoppable.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and coming on to my podcast. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. Again, Sunshine Choate. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.